Following an episode containing a Zelda game with an episode containing a Zelda-like, is Oceanhorn: Monster of Uncharted Seas. This game is nearly a decade old, but I'd never heard of it until seeing it on offer on the Switch's eShop, since I've managed to go until 2022 before I ever got a phone that could play games outside of Snake properly. On starting a new game, we see a house during a stormy night. Inside, a man is writing a letter to his sleeping son, explaining that he is leaving for good. This is due to a long-standing grudge he has with an ancient monster, Oceanhorn. The monster is coming for him again, sooner than he expected, so he has to leave to deal with it. He also hints that Oceanhorn may be responsible for his wife's death, with her leaving behind only a necklace. Along with it, he also leaves his son his old notebook from his travelling days, which will guide his son to an island with a friend who will help him. And that's where he leaves it as we see him take on Oceanhorn. We next hear the child being woken up by a woman's voice. Whatever island the man sent his son to, this helpful friend couldn't get him a house, so he lives on a tent on top of the hill. So when I first saw this guy on the eShop, I thought his look was inspired by Link's design in Breath of the Wild, since the game itself is Zelda inspired. But it's a pure coincidence, this game is from 2013, a year before Link's look in that game would be first shown. The mother's necklace suddenly lifts itself up and begins floating into a cave, and so we gain control at Sonson Cliff on Hermit's Island with 3 extra challenges listed at the bottom. So far I can pick things up and I have a stick I use as a weapon. There are coins to pick up and the camera is always fixed to this isometric view. I can dash, but it drains my stamina bar. Like the game's inspiration, I can break pots, but only through throwing, not through weapons, making Oceanhorn pots stronger than Zelda pots. I continue south down more stairs and head east to reach the hermit outside his hut. He reveals that the prologue scene with the kid's dad is a recurring nightmare of his. I go inside his hut, but can't open the chest inside as I lack a master key. Going northeast a little from the hut will take me to a checkpoint, the machine being from a past era. I'll spawn back at the last one I touched whenever I die. South of the hermit's hut are my first pair of enemies, a spiky slime thing and a big bug with a shell. My stick is weak, but when I kill them I gain experience in the form of blue crystals to pick up. But aside from that, I can't do anything else here yet. There's a locked door and a red crystal I can't reach. Back to the checkpoint, I cross the bridge next to it. The challenges aren't tied to my location by the way, as when I kill an enemy throwing a pot at it, I complete the ceramic killer challenge, which was not one of the 3 listed when I started. Completing a challenge gets you a nice XP boost, in this case 50 points. I head north, past a chest I can't reach to find the cave the necklace flew into. But first I go back to the checkpoint and up the hill to the north of it. Up here there's a grave for Teppo the archaeologist and a ladder down into a cave. Nothing interesting in here, just a straightforward path with a single enemy on the way to a second ladder. This takes me to Hermit's picnic spot where I can drop down from the east to a chest containing a Rough Explorer crystal worth 25 XP. Time for the other cave. On the way, I find this game has its own spin attack by holding the attack button, which completes the secret sword attack challenge for trying it for the first time. This gets me the experience to reach level 2, going from Vagrant to Traveller. The level up rewards me 10 coins that get me the 25 needed to pass the pocket money challenge as well. I then enter the cave. Going north takes me to a locked door, so from there I go west to find a simple block pushing tutorial. I push the block on the switch which lowers the wall, keeping me from a chest. It contains a regular key that I use on the locked door I just passed. In the next room I step on a switch to lower another gate and keep moving across a bridge to the east. Here is a blue reset button, which returns objects to their original positions in case I really screw up a puzzle. I then complete the Smart Guy challenge for reading 10 signs. Here are 2 buttons with red dots, meaning they need to be weighed down to stay pressed. So I place these 2 boulders on them to open the way to the mother's necklace. Then the chest behind it contains the father's sword and shield. Grabbing these completes the challenge not far from Tree. To the north is a lever that opens the way to the exit. This puts me in another section of Sonson Cliff where I can push down a block out of my way to reach another chest containing 10 coins. I return to the hermit and talk to him. He's surprised to see the kid with the sword as he wasn't supposed to end up with it for a few years yet, but as soon as he hears about the necklace glowing, he realises it contains one of the symbols of the ancient Arcadia, which is also when the checkpoint machines are from. He takes the kid back to his hut to fill him in. In the past, the islands that make up this game's world were once the Kingdom of Arcadia. They had magic along with being very technologically advanced. But then a war began when the Dark Lord Mesmeroth led an army of Direfolk against the Arcadians. Using his magic and help from the Direfolk, Mesmeroth managed to unearth Triloth, a dark energy left over from the world's creation. Usage of Triloth led to a dark age where Arcadia was lost into darkness. It also set loose 3 sea monsters, one of which was Oceanhorn, born directly from Triloth. The other 2 monsters eventually died, but Oceanhorn still lives. That's where he leaves the story as it's gotten late and he says to come back in the morning. I return to my lookout and go to bed, with no one noticing the masked man on a boat watching. He sends out these mechanical things and the next morning they've cornered the Hermit. As I hit them, I complete the Fast Blade challenge for performing 10 successful combo attacks. After killing them, I talk to the Hermit, who believes the necklace attracted them. He says that the kid's destiny is tied to Oceanhorn, so there's no point delaying it any longer. He tells the kid about the sacred emblems, which hold the power of gods. Their purpose was to balance the world, but they lost their power when Oceanhorn appeared. So my quest is to find the sacred emblems and figure out what happened to them. What he knows so far is that the emblem of Earth once belonged to the Oru people and is hidden in the Purta Desert. The emblem of Oceans belongs to the aquatic Gilfolk. The emblem of Sun was particularly treasured by Arcadia, but he'll tell me more about that one later. He then sends me off, saying the Father's Notebook will help with learning about the islands of the Uncharted Seas. But first he says I should talk to people on Tikkarel Island and gives me a key that opens the door to the pier. This conversation lets me discover Tikkarel and adds it as one of my travel destinations. I unlock the door and get on my boat to enter the world map. The Hermit talks to me some more using Mysterious Seashell. He just says he'll help throughout the quest. Tikkarel Island appears as a choice in the world map. I learn that Hermit's Island is only 2% complete, and I also see an island floating in the sky I can't do anything with yet. So I choose Tikkarel and my boat sets off there on its own. So if the main gameplay is inspired by the top-down Zelda games, then this was clearly inspired by the Wind Waker. The main difference is the boat controls itself and you can only choose to travel to islands you already know about, meaning free exploration isn't possible. This isn't a downside, as the game has its own way of discovering new islands. Plus the overall size of the world is much smaller than in Wind Waker, so there wouldn't be much room for that kind of freedom anyway. Right now I can't do anything but just wait to reach Tikkarel town. As I pull in, I also get to see 3 new challenges listed. We also get to hear the father's notes narrated. In this case, he liked the town and always imagined a life in a place like it, but he didn't have the time to stay and take it in. While talking to people, Lisa, the old woman, says she saw the same black boat that let the machines onto Hermit's Island. Kirk tells me that I can buy bombs at Bomb Island. Hearing its name lets me discover Bomb Island and adds it as one of my travel options on the world map. Up the stairs I talk to John, who once took a trip to the Withered Lands hoping to see an Oru temple. This lets me travel to the Withered Lands too. Next to him is the Adventurers Guild building. It just has a couple signs and the Master Adventurer, who explains gameplay things I've already talked about. The house next to it has Mito standing outside it, who talks about Tikkarel's oldest tradition, the Festival of the Sun. Inside his house there's a diary belonging to Niti, who I haven't met yet. I then push around this crate until I complete the Hard Worker challenge by moving crates and other objects 100 times. The XP from this gets me to level 3, Wayfarer. This also adds a pumpkin seed gun to my boat. To the back is Crayfish Cave, but the entrance has been blocked by an earthquake. Up the stairs is a shop, but I can't afford anything yet. I enter the house next to the shop and go down the stairs into the cellar to find a lot of rats I can kill. During this I complete the Hat Trick challenge for killing 3 enemies with a single sword strike. I head even further back in the island, where I find a gate to Humming Hill that's locked. There's a chest on the west side of this area, but I can't reach it yet. Back to the pier, I run along the beach to find a letter in a bottle. It's addressed to an Ophelia, but I read it anyway to discover another new island, the Sandbar. Up the stairs on the east takes me to Niti, Mito's daughter, and the one whose diary was in their house. She tells me that no one is allowed on Humming Hill until the Festival of the Sun is finished. Up the stairs next to her is a hole I drop into to enter a cave. There's one of the Gilfolk in here who collects bloodstones. He tells me he'll reward me if I find some and bring them to him. Bloodstones are the orange rocks we've been seeing around and I just haven't been able to actually reach any of them yet. I lean out the front and push down this block to create a shortcut back into the cave from the beach. Slightly southeast of Niti's vegetable garden, I can drop down onto the beach and just barely swim to another before my stamina runs out. I run up the hill and meet my first equivalent to an Octorok. Reflecting its shots with my shield didn't work and it would always hide whenever I got close, so I just left it and went down into this cave. Heading north, I get the required bat enemies that all caves and games must have. There was one in the cave back in Hermit's Island, but it never came near me. All there is to do is follow the path west and then south to the exit, which puts me higher up. I follow the path west and up and I'm at the top of Humming Hill. Nothing to do here yet, so I return to my boat and leave this place. My 3 newly discovered locations appear on the world map and I first choose Bomb Island. Now I have the pumpkin seed gun and I have some form of defense while on the boat. I can shoot any enemies and also barrels floating atop the water for a little money. As I enter Bomb Island, I get to hear more of the father's notes. It was where Trilov was excavated. Today people either come here to buy bombs or work in the mines. I keep heading east and enter the first building I see, the bomb maker's house. But he doesn't have any bombs to sell me as he's run out of gunpowder and his mines have disappeared so he can't get any more. He says I'll have to find some in the nearby abandoned mines. I take the back door out of the house and keep moving east. Up some stairs is an old statue named Rusty. I push him aside, which spawns a chest at the east edge of the island and completes the Rusty's treasure challenge for finding it. I go to and open the chest for 10 coins. Back at the statue I go north to find one of the mine entrances and above it a lever that opens a nearby gate, but first I go into the abandoned mine's beach entrance. However, the way forward is blocked, so all I can do now is leave. Back at Rusty, I go up a slight slope and follow the path west over a bridge, and then cross another which collapses behind me. Going downhill I finally manage to reflect a shot back into one of the squids. I try walking into water and swimming, but drown, losing a little XP. Going north across another bridge sees me fighting my first Direfolk. He's pretty easy and isn't very aggressive. Further on are some bigger ones wielding hammers. Past him is the first bloodstone I can reach, but after a few sword attacks, I give up on it and walk off. I go east and then north towards the northern edge of the island. I cross the spiked floor and keep going until I reach the main entrance of the abandoned mine. I drop into the water below and push a block to fill in the gap so I can keep moving north. There's a locked door, so I move east. I press the switch in the water to open a path to a chest containing a key so I can unlock that door and keep moving on. I go north until I can't move any further, then east onto a bridge that collapses underneath me and drops me into the depths. Down here I have a lot of coins to collect, a few choices of exit, and a bloodstone I still think I can't obtain yet. I choose to take the southern ladder back up as it places me close to where I fell from. I cross the remaining part of the bridge and keep moving east. I cross the bridge to a lever that lowers a wall so I can keep moving. There's a block puzzle, but instead I cross another bridge to find a locked door and a Direfolk holding the key to it, so I kill him for the key and unlock the door. It leads to a chest with just an old boot containing a single coin. There's also a switch that opens a nearby gate in the water. Back to those blocks and I open up a path to the south which lets me get in the water. All the way east, past 4 unlit torches, is another block puzzle leading to a bloodstone. Once again I don't hit it enough to break it free before I give up. Instead I line the blocks up to create a bridge to a chest containing a key. South of the torches is the locked door I use it in. There's a layer in here that explains what happened to the miners. The ground fell beneath their feet and they were dropped into a lair of a giant sapede. The survivor locked the door and hid the key behind the torches. I go north and into the underwater doorway I open to find that the door to the boss is in fact locked. On the way back I drop into the depths again to find a chest with just a recovery heart inside, and I was already at full health. Back in the room with the note, I can pick up the torch here and take it to the unlit torches. Lighting them all has another chest spawn which contains a master key. With it I can return to that door and open it. Inside is a hole that drops me into a section of the depths where I'm surrounded by 2 sapedes. I start by hanging out on the small section I land on and getting some free damage in by throwing the nearby skulls at one of them. That has my segments separating so I can just drop down and easily finish them off. That just leaves the second, but there are more skulls on the floor so I can get some more damage in without getting too close. Then when I run out I just smack the rest of them to death. Killing them completes the Exterminator challenge. The XP gain gets me to level 4, Pilgrim. My items are refilled despite having no items with ammo yet, and I gain 100 bonus coins. I go through the door in the southeast corner and follow the path to a block I push down to create a bridge. Going north shows me 2 chests, but I can't get rid of the crates in the way. Instead I go south to the big chest and use the master key for some bombs. Hopefully I shouldn't have to explain what these do. I use them to blow up the crates to the north. The chests contain a rare seashell worth 5 coins and 25 XP. I then blow up the crates to the south of the chest to reach a ladder to the other side of the beach entrance. I press a switch to lower the wall and I'm free to leave. But first I return to the room I fought with the sapedes and take the northeastern exit I missed. All it gets me is a chest with a recovery heart. Still gotta get it though, gotta open all those chests. Then I leave through the beach entrance to find a letter in a bottle is washed up. The writer claims to be imprisoned by Direfolk on the Withered Lands. So if I missed the NPC that tells me about the Withered Lands back in Tikkurel, I'll discover it here. That's something I like. Some islands have multiple places where you can learn about them. On the way back I try bombing a bloodstone but give up again when it doesn't budge. I also discover a hole in the ground into a cave that I missed the first time I passed by. There's a chest near the entrance and a winding path leading to it. On the way there's a wall to blow up leading to a bloodstone, but I don't get it because I still haven't learned yet. The chest contains my first heart piece. Didn't even bother to change the name because there's no point, we're just going to call them that anyway. 4 of them increases my maximum health by 1 heart. This completes the challenge first piece. After that I return to my boat and the world map. I decide to check out the sandbar next. There's nothing here but 2 bloodstones. I still haven't worked it out yet, so I leave. Instead I choose to travel to the Withered Lands, arriving at the Perta Desert. All the father has to say about this place is that Orus used to live here, but are now gone, taking their great wisdom with them. I head east until I have to bomb a crate to continue, meaning I couldn't do much here before going to Bomb Island anyway. I continue east, also having a minor block pushing obstacle on the way. I go uphill and then start heading west, then north down some stairs. North some more, and a sign says the wall blocking my path can be dealt with at the guard tower. So I go as far west as I can and then follow the path south and east into the desert caverns. I see a heart piece and the bloodstone, but once again it looks like I've simply found the cave's exit first. Backtracking west, I see another entrance to the desert caverns that I walked past the first time. I run along the water until I hit the northern wall. There's a slot in the floor for a metal box and the box itself a little further down. It's very simple and I had no trouble getting the box onto that spot, which lowers the wall blocking me from the stairs back outside, putting me at a higher section of the desert. I go east and north, knock this spike ball out of the way and stand on this switch to open the gate lower down so I can keep moving north. Going west has me face my first crossbow wielding dire folk. I also push this block into a hole in the wall, and it does nothing just yet. There's also an Oru locked behind the gate here that I only just notice when he begins talking to me. I go west some more and downhill to a chest containing 2 bombs, and it's all the way uphill to push down another block and put that in the hole too to lower the gate, trapping the Oru, completing the Making Friends challenge as well. As thanks, he tells me to meet him on the other side of the desert and introduces himself as Rigger. I cross the spiked floor, finding that throwing a chair onto an ogre's face does a lot of damage. But I get killed by a second one. Luckily, the enemies I've already killed don't respawn. Near the ogre is a chest I open for 2 more bombs. After killing the ogre, I find a note detailing plans for a gang of dire folk to invade Tikkarel. Uphill is a chest with a heart, and next to it a block to push over some spikes to complete a bridge going north. It leads to the top of the guard tower where I can pull a lever to lower the wall that was blocking me earlier. I cross the wall and keep moving east to go uphill and cross a bridge where an archer kills me and disappears by the time I get back. I follow the path around to a group of statues. Rigger said that the key to reach him lied in the statues, and I come across a solution completely by chance when I push one of them over some grass and the camera pans to this block wall, so I just cover all 3 grass tiles to open the way forward. Crossing the wall takes me to Rigger's home. I enter the first door I see and go up a ladder, then out the door to end up higher up, but I find nothing, so I go west to find a pair of graves for other Orus and continue west to find the last living tree in the Withered Lands and Rigger next to it. As thanks for saving him, he gives me a magic spell. He explains he's the last of his species after Perta's forest died off 50 years ago and he saw his brother dying in battle. He learns I'm after the Emblem of Earth. Rigger says that in the centre of their great forest was a shrine that the Orus used to travel to. The Emblem of Earth was the heart of that shrine, and it gave the Orus and the forest power, but when the catastrophe started, a man in a dark cape offered them help but planted a seed in the shrine. The plant grew into the demon Termos, who has controlled the shrine since. Rigger says the shrine is on a nearby island. Listening to this lets me discover the Great Forest. Force spell he gave me lets me spawn a small boulder in the spot I aim at. I also now have a magic meter under my health that it uses up. Further west is another entrance to the desert caverns. I follow the path south and west, then at the fork I continue west to reach the heart piece I saw earlier. Back at the fork and all the way south, ignoring the other paths, takes me to a switch in the middle of the pit. I use the force spell to press it and open the gate here. Taking the path through the gate takes me to an exit that puts me higher up on the southern part of the desert. To the west is a chest, but I can't figure out how to get to it yet. So I just drop down and return to my boat, to see the Great Forest become a travel option. But first I choose to return to Hermit's Island. While shooting at mines and enemies, I reach level 5, Rookie Adventurer. Now I have a master key, I can use it to unlock the chest in Hermit's Hut for a 3rd heart piece. From the top of the hill I can drop down until I land inside this well that I missed first time. It leads to the Great Chronicler's grave. There's a headstone that says that the Great Chronicler rests here and that the next room, the Room of Answers, has knowledge for me. But there's a gate keeping me from getting in. I just leave since I can't figure it out yet. Back on the southwestern edge of the island I can swim over to another chest, containing 5 coins. I go back to the boat and head back to Bomb Island. While here I complete the bouncer challenge for bouncing an enemy with my shield 10 times. I finally gave in and looked up how to collect bloodstones. I just needed to hit it more than I was doing before giving up. I start with the one near the collapsing bridge and the hole in the ground. Back down said hole I grab the one in the northeast corner. Next one is the one near an ogre on the northwestern corner of the island. Then the one in the depths of the abandoned mines. Also in the mines there was one I pointed out near a load of blocks. That's 5 bloodstones and all the ones I know of on this island so far. My next destination is the sandbar. I grab the 2 bloodstones on this island, making it become the first island I fully complete, then back to the Withered Lands. When running east from the pier again, I noticed a cave entrance I missed first time, so I drop down and go inside, which takes me higher up to a section I've never been yet. Up here is a chest containing a golden gear, which is worth 50 coins. Then it's nothing new until Rigger's home, where I run around the wall to the west to reach more open space to explore. Here I can see even more graves, and in the north is a chest I failed to reach once, give up on and leave despite the solution being very simple. And that's about it. 20 minutes running around here and I only opened a single chest. Time to finally check out the Great Forest. The forest once covered the entire Perta region, but now only this island remains of it. By the pier there is a letter in a bottle warning of a strange boat written by someone called Blackheart. I just keep going north and east up several sets of stairs until I reach the entrance to the Restless Grove. I cross the 2 bridges and at the fork go east, which takes me to a chest that gets me a key. Nearby is a bridge that drops me onto the northern path. Up the stairs here I use that key to unlock a door. It gives me 2 blocks that I have to use to fill in a spike pit so I can cross. But first I go west to blow up a crate and drop down a hole. It takes me to a small section with a chest containing 25 coins. I cross the spike pit and go all the way to reach a doorway blocked by another wall. So it's up the hill to this bridge that I push a block down so I can cross. It leads to a lever that lowers the wall blocking the doorway. Said doorway is the entrance to some caves. I move east until I reach a broken bridge, then follow the path south to a lever that lifts up a wall to complete it. Crossing it takes me to a bunch of crates I blow up along with a metal one that fills in a spike pit so I can reach the exit. This puts me back in the Restless Grove. I get a new enemy here, a spear wielding skeleton. I need to kill this guy to get the key he's holding, which I use to open the gate in front of me. It leads to an Oru woman who attacks me for trespassing. She comes after me with a sword and shield and keeps trying to attack me. I could try and avoid her slashes and counter with one of my own, but instead I just keep laying bombs on the ground and bait her into walking into them, since they do so much more damage. Then I just hit her with the sword when she's low on health until she flees and the path forward opens up. I go north of the hill and then down some stairs to find a large closed door. I go up some nearby stairs and around to a lever that opens the door before going inside. And here is the game's next dungeon, the Forest Shrine. As I go east to the other side of this bridge with a locked door below it, I get my next new enemy. It's a ghost wearing a stone mask. I have to destroy the mask with a bomb before I can damage them. The next room has a gate I can't open yet, so I go south into the next. A gate opens to free a skeleton and I push a block onto a marking to lower a wall blocking me from some stairs. Up the stairs and hidden away to the north is a chest containing another key. There's a target and a chest underwater I can't do anything with yet, so I return to the locked door and go through it. It leads to a door into the crypt. I follow the path north to a lever that floods the room to let me reach higher up places. Close to the lever is a chest blocked by a wall. To the south is some stairs to another lever that lowers said wall and lets me get the key inside. Across from the second lever is a door I go through. It leads to a locked door I use a key on. As I enter this room, a large plant tentacle holding a key rises from the ground and moves around. It's one of Termos' arms. I start by throwing pots at it, and when I run out of those, I start battering it to death to get that key. There's a chest in this arena too, but it requires this dungeon's master key. So I go north and lock the door there. It leads to a ladder back to the outside area. I also learn that pots can also break a ghost mask. West of the ladder I arrive from is another ladder, but first there's a bloodstone to grab to the north, then I take the ladder down into the tunnels. First I ignore the bridges and go down the stairs to stand on a switch that opens up a gate further on. I get on the bridges and go north to push a crate into the water before I drop down in front of that gate and go through. Up the stairs I push a crate down onto a marker that opens another gate and then hit a lever that drains the water from the west side of the room. I then drop down onto the first block I push down and then push it into the spike pit to fill the gap. I then go down the stairs back into the crypt where there's a chest containing this dungeon's master key. Behind the chest is a ladder that takes me back next to the master chest which contains the bow and arrows. Now I can finally shoot all those targets I've been passing throughout this place. The one in this room raises 2 walls on either side of the master chest so that I can reach a ladder in the south of the room. It takes me to a small tunnel that drops me off at the start of the dungeon. I shoot the first target I found to open a gate to a ladder that takes me back into the crypt. Hidden behind a plant is a switch that opens another gate to a ladder, but first I return to the flooded section on the first screen. Shooting the target drains the water and lets me get to the switch with my 4th heart piece inside, getting me my first health increase. Then back into the crypt to go up that ladder. It leads to a large set of stairs that take me to a sign saying the Emblem of Earth is in the central hall. To get there I place a bomb up here and blow open a hole to drop through. I head towards the Emblem of Earth, but Termos' head rises up from the middle of the floor. He has 4 tentacles moving around and sometimes sends out little spore things that I can just knock out of the air. While taking down the tentacles, I reach level 6, Adventurer. My maximum arrows has been increased from 10 to 15. Taking out all 4 tentacles will have Termos get involved directly and open his mouth to reveal his core, but I walk into his mouth and get eaten. Next time I make him open his mouth, instead of using my sword, I stand back and shoot the core with my bow. I also have the suction of his breath dragging me in to worry about as well. His strategy doesn't really change, so neither does mine, and I eventually take out all of his health. Termos explodes, which allows me to approach the Emblem of Earth. I get spoken to by Nato, the goddess of fire and earth. She says she was tricked and trapped here by Mesmeroth, but now that she's free, she'll travel with the kid and start the reconstruction of the world. Rigger shows up. Now that the shrine has been freed, he can finally return to show respect to his ancestors, but as we found out when we fought that Guardian, Rigger isn't actually the last of his kind. He and the other 2 will stay and live in Great Forest to continue their species' history. Rigger then gives me an acorn from the last tree in the Withered Lands and says to plant it in a place important to me. Clearing the dungeon also completed the Fable Gardener challenge. I talk to him again and he says that the Coral Saber, a legendary weapon, was last known to be washed up on Riptide Reef, letting me discover that island. When I get back on my boat, Hermit contacts me and tells me to visit him when I have the time, so I decide to do it right now. Outside his house is a note telling me to meet him at the well near my tent. He tells me to jump down and get him a package that used to belong to his friend, Teppo the archaeologist. So he's back into the Great Chronicler's grave where there's suddenly a letter on the floor. It's clearly Teppo talking about finding this place with the Hermit and exploring inside while the Hermit keeps watch outside. The gate is now open for some reason and leads to a locked door. At the fork I go north to reach another room with another of Teppo's notes. One talks about the advancements in technology the Arcadians made in the war with the Direfolk, including the creation of 3 giant machines they called living fortresses. Next to this is a chest with a key inside. South of the locked door is my 9th bloodstone. I then unlock the door. Directly across from the door is a chest with 5 bombs inside. To the south is a statue with a sign telling me not to lean on it, so I do, which opens a door behind it. This leads to the Room of Answers. There's a switch and next to it, 2 gravestones talking about the Shield of Kronos, created by the Arcadian inventor Archimedes and currently on the Sky Island. Then the already mentioned Coral Blade at Riptide Reef, used by Thorn the Brave against Sealorc, one of Oceanhorn's equivalents. Before pressing on, I go south of the statue to find an empty chest and another note claiming to have found blueprints drawn by Archimedes. To the north end is a chest with a heart piece inside. Back in the Room of Answers, I place a skull on the switch to lower the door. Past the spikes I reach a watery room where the stairs are blocked by a wall. A switch lowers that wall, but raises others I have to walk around under the time limit. This takes me to a corridor with flamethrowers I have to avoid. In the small room after, I blow up a chunk of wall for a chest containing a key. I move along the corridors to the next room and after taking out all the enemies, unlock the door. I also waste bombs blowing up all these boards in case they're permanently destructible. This leads to the final room of this place. It has the Great Chronicler's coffin, revealed to have been known as Rodgar the Curious in life. I press a nearby switch to lower one last wall for the final chest in this place, with the Lost Star Cube of Archimedes inside. Outside, the Hermit says that Teppo told him of this cube before he died, but the Hermit didn't believe it actually existed. He'll study the documents inside this box while I go look for the Emblem of Ocean. First I decide to revisit Tikkurel, now I've built up a collection of bloodstones. Niti is waiting for me with bad news. It's time for the Festival of the Sun, but her father was injured trying to take the fireworks up to the top of Humming Hill. The kid agrees to help set off the fireworks and Niti gives him the key to Humming Hill. She'll also follow us around. If I go talk to Lisa again, she'll point out that the black boat is back. I stop by the shop and since I've built up over 500 coins, I buy the ancient radar. It exists to point out nearby secrets I haven't discovered yet. As you can see, I now have a counter showing how many bloodstones out of all of them I've found in the current area. I unlock the door to Humming Hill and climb up to the top. The machine enemies are now in the cave on the way there, explaining how Niti's dad managed to get injured. Near the exit, my ancient radar tells me I'm near a bloodstone, so I blow up this wall and follow the new path to it. Following the path some more gets me to a second. I fight my way up to the top, taking out all the machines on the way. At the top, the Dark Apostle, the man who set the machines on us at Hermit's Island at the start of the game, is waiting for me. He's trying to teach this town a lesson for aiding me in working against Mesmerov's plans. He fights similarly to the Oru Guardian, so I spend a lot of time backing away and baiting him into getting blown up by bombs. I just found it more convenient. When defeated, he's a sore loser, saying that his loss means nothing and Mesmerov is still going to win. He explodes and Niti loses interest in the situation real quick and just wants to watch the festival. And so the kid sits next to Niti while they watch the fireworks and she opens up to him with her desire to travel like he does. She mentions Guilfolk's Drop and Southwind Isle. To be honest, it's a strange scene. It's played sort of romantically with this come back and visit me thing and the kid giving her the acorn he got from Rigger, but it's entirely possible for you to have never spoken to her before coming back for the festival stuff I think. In the couple hours of gameplay between visits, I'd completely forgotten about her and didn't remember even as this scene was playing. Once the scene is done, I've completed the Town Sheriff challenge and gained the XP to reach level 7, Pathfinder. This level up allows me to sail faster, and thanks to Niti name dropping them, I've now discovered Guilfolk's Drop and Southwind Isle. I talk to her again and she says her father also has a gift to thank me with, so I barge through her to go get it. Mito gives me his old fishing rod, as fishing has somehow become a required thing for action-adventure games since Ocarina of Time, and I never got why, or got the appeal really. I've never done an adventure game's fishing for fun, only for completion. I only came here to trade in some bloodstones, so I get on that. Outside the cave I also shoot a target with my bow to make a chest spawn, however my 11 bloodstones still isn't enough for the collector. For that new chest I have to push this crate just right to fill in the gap on the beach so I can cross to the chest. It gets me a Polished Explorer Crystal worth 250 XP. This already bumps me up to level 8, Spellbinder. Casting spells now cost 20% less mana. I then remember the Crayfish Cave's entrance blocked by rocks, so I blow them up and go inside. Right away is another bloodstone for me. There's another and a chest lower down, but I can only move east to another screen. In the corner there's a switch hidden under some grass that lowers a wall on the opposite end of this bridge. To the east after the bridge is my 4th bloodstone of this island. Next to it is a ladder that takes me back outside and lets me reach the one house I couldn't before. This seemingly deserted house has signs someone has been living here, with a bottle filled with oil on a barrel along with some high-tech machine parts. The 2 chests here contain bombs and 50 coins. I go back into Crayfish Cave and across from the ladder is a block puzzle for another chest. This one contains a bag of gold, worth 150 coins. To the west is the exit to the lower parts of the first screen where I can get the next bloodstone. Can't get the chest though. I leave through the back onto the beach. There's a message in a bottle talking about a reef filled with bombs and arrows, adding reef to my list of discovered islands. I go for a swim and drown, but I also complete the Sea Snake challenge for swimming a total of 500 meters. With that, I decide to leave Tikkerel for now. With all my new travel options, I choose Southwind Isle. The father had nothing interesting to say about this place, just that it looked nice. To the west of the pier is this place's first bloodstone. Can't go far north, there's just a cave entrance I can't reach. To the east is a gate with a sign saying that it's wind powered and the windmills can easily jam, so it's up some nearby stairs to find a windmill. This one doesn't do anything when I hit it, but the one a little south of it opens the gate. I go through the gate and follow the path east and south uphill, push aside a block and go downhill to reach a cave entrance. But first I swim a little to the east for a second bloodstone. Inside the cave I get stuck trying to hit this lever for an embarrassing 10 minutes, until I remember the force spell and drop a rock on it to raise a wall I can run across. It leads up to the entrance to the next screen. I cross the bridge north and then west, leading to a minor block puzzle that was keeping me from the entrance to another screen. I go a little north and push down 2 crates to make a path to another exit. In this room there's a guy trapped on a rock in the middle, but first I ignore him and run around the room to reach the exit that leads to the part I couldn't reach near the pier. I push down a block to create a shortcut and go back in. It takes me a few attempts to figure out this puzzle. I have 4 blocks, 2 higher up and 2 lower down. I push one of the higher ones onto this slight bump to keep it higher, then I use the 2 lower down blocks to get one in front of the first, then the second higher up block gets pushed on top of that one to make a bridge to the guy. This is Faye's husband. She's one of the women who lives at Tikkerel. I nearly brought her up because she didn't have anything interesting to say. He somehow got lost here on his way home. He doesn't know about the Emblem of Ocean, but he does know that the Gilfolk love honey, so he gives me a bottle of it that he had. I have to carry it though. This completes the Fate of Honeyman challenge. I carry my honey all the way back to my boat and next choose to travel to Gilfolk's drop. The father's notebook says that humans are still afraid to go anywhere near the Gilfolk as they have a grudge against humans and Direfolk for ruining the ocean. Carrying the honey from one island to another completes the Fruity di Terra challenge and gets me to level 9, Explorer. Now using my shield uses up less stamina. I start by getting on the steps and shooting the target over this wall to lower the wall. At the fork I go north with a sign on the way telling me I'm on the way to the deep cove. I follow the path to the end as it turns east and then south and finally west, taking me to a gate in some water requiring the force spell on a switch to open. This allows me to enter the deep cove. I carry the honey over to the Gilman guard, who is very thankful and gives me the key to head further in. But not yet. I head back outside because I barely explored, I just wanted to get rid of that honey that was weighing me down. On the way back, on the northern beach is a letter in a bottle from Rob, a guy stranded on the Skerry after a shipwreck. This has me discover the Skerry. Back at the first fork I go northeast to reach a chest with 5 coins inside. It turns out that was all there was to find right now. I go back into Deep Cove and unlock the gate. The first person I talk to says that the Gilfolk have been driven to hide in caves by Oceanhorn. To the west, the second one I talk to says that the kid is the first visitor they've had in centuries. Up the stairs next to him and the third one says that the Emblem of Ocean is in their royal palace. Up more stairs is a lock that I don't have a key for yet, so it's down some stairs and to the north where an old Gilman will tell me a story. The Gilfolk king died after the catastrophe, being unable to survive being separated from the ocean he was one with. A guy who was clearly Mesmeroth turned up at the funeral and gave a gift to his daughter, Princess Finn. She laid the gift at the king's feet, which triggered a curse that froze everything inside the palace, not just in ice, but in time. Princess Finn has now been frozen inside the palace for 1,000 years. Because the entrance is frozen, they can't get in to break the curse. The only thing left that can help is a treasure in the Cavern of Fire, but only Gilfolk can reach it and none of them dare try. But he still gives me a key in case I can somehow reach it. I use it on the lock I found earlier, which lowers the wall surrounding a ladder next to it. The ladder leads back outside, but in a new section. I head south a little and swim to another bit of land. I follow it north until I get back in water and swim to a switch that lowers a wall blocking some stairs. Up those stairs I fire an arrow over this door to hit a target that opens said door. Up the stairs behind it is a letter in a bottle where a guy quits the Cavern of Fire in favour of searching the old fortress, discovering that location for me. Next to the bottle is the first bloodstone for this area. Then up the stairs some more, I can drop down west for a second bloodstone. I can drop down even further to create a shortcut close to the pier. But even then I find I can't get back to where I dropped from, so it's the long way back. Finally at the top of those stairs is the entrance to the Cavern of Fire. First thing I do is lift a rock off a switch to lower a wall, then push some blocks aside while dealing with the new fire-breathing ghost. While taking it out, I blow open a passage leading to a chest containing a recovery heart. After the blocks, I'm running past some flamethrowers and then arrows shooting from the walls. At the end is a pair of lit torches in front of the pair of unlit ones. I use my bow to fire an arrow through the lit ones to light the unlit ones. This raises a wall so I can cross over to them. But first I go down the stairs in the opposite direction to a room with a pair of chests. One has 5 arrows, the other has 3 arrows. And next to that one is a doorway to a third chest with 5 bombs. In the corner next to it I blow up a wall, completing the Bomber Archaeologist challenge for doing so 10 times. This leads me to a ladder that takes me to a tunnel leading to a block puzzle in front of the gate, the switch to open said gate being up a slope. First the 1 free block near the entrance gets pushed into the southwest corner of the spike pit. Then it's up the slope and around to fill in the 2 holes there and realise that I've looped back around to the torches I lit. Continuing down the bridge I push down another block to create a bridge to this locked door. I don't have a key so I head south from there to a chest containing one. But I notice I missed a room below, so I once again head into the part opposite the torches and take the one door I missed. Running past the spike pits gets me to that part below the key chest and I bait a ghost into lighting this torch to make another chest appear. This one has 5 bombs. I go through the other doorway here which leads to a door to a room with a chest containing a single coin. There's another torch to light that lowers a wall and lets me reach another doorway. It takes me to another chest with a beautiful necklace worth 100 coins. Next to it is a ladder that takes me back outside in case I want to leave now. But now it's time to unlock that door and cross the spike pits to reach the next room. It has a chest containing the fire spell. I use this in a similar way to the force spell, point and cast. With that, I can leave now. I return to the deep cove and all the way in the north of this place is some ice blocking my path. With the fire spell I can melt it and keep going. I run past the next set of stairs and go all the way south to reach a gate locked by a block puzzle. The solution is to just run along the top of the gate to reach the higher up blocks and push them off the edge into these spike pits. Once all the pits are filled, the gate opens. Through the gate I follow the stream to an area with more ice to melt. This includes falling a lever that powers the wall blocking access to the frozen palace, which I then enter. There's a lot of stuff I can melt in here, including 2 blocks so they can be moved. Moving them into the same coloured tile spawns a chest containing a key. Behind the chest is the master door and the Gil Mentor. This guy, Gil, charged into the palace to save Princess Finn moments before being frozen for 1,000 years. He leaves to warm himself up. In the northeast corner of this room is a bloodstone. I could unlock a door either to the east or west, but I choose east. It leads to a spiked floor with ice blowers on either side that take forever to finish. Right after that I complete the Fire Walk With Me challenge for melting 15 objects with the fire spell. I swim past the locked gate to a time switch that drains the water for a few seconds. Draining the water lets me push a block to the switch that opens the gate. In this next room is a chest I can't reach and a ghost that breathes ice. These are the easiest ones to deal with thanks to the fire spell. There are 2 pressure switches in here so I blow up some crates to reach a pair of barrels to place on them. I break the second so I use a pot instead to gain access to the stairs to the upper wing. In the middle of this room are 3 locks on a bridge. I first light the 2 unlit torches I can find and push through the blocks to the east section. A lever opens the gate next to it and in the path it leads to, melting some ice reveals a gap in this fence I can get through. This lets me get the first key I need from the chest. I take the rest of the path to a maze filled with spiked floors. First I light a torch to spawn a chest back near the entrance of this room. Second I run across the thin walls to a chest with the second key inside. I do the same on the opposite side for a regular explorer crystal worth 50 XP. The chest I spawned with the torches gets me the 3rd key. But then for some reason I leave the room the way I came. During my backtracking I complete the Sticky Finger challenge for collecting 1,000 total coins. I return to the start of the palace and go west to unlock a door on that side. It opens up some stairs down into the lower wing. First I hit a lever that swaps all the raised and lowered walls. I can then run across the new wall to get into the main part of the room. There's a timed switch in the corner that opens a gate in the opposite corner for a few seconds and the northern edge has another wall swapping lever. I can't quite figure out what to do yet, so I leave for now and take the stairs next to the door I unlocked. There's a sign that when read raises the walls from the floor, but I can't do anything here yet, so it's back to the lower wing. A sign in the lower wing tells me that standing in the coldest spot of a dragon's breath will grant me a chest. My solution was to stand next to the switch and cast force on the lever to raise the walls. I then press a switch and run through the gate, letting me run along the walls to a higher section. I then stand in the very edge of this statue's ice breath to spawn a chest. There's a chest to the west, but with these gaps in the floor, I can't reach it. I unlock the chest I spawned for another key. With all options here exhausted, it's time to unlock that bridge in the upper wing. Behind it is a hole that drops me in front of the chest I was just trying to reach. It gets me the trencher boots. These allow me to jump over small gaps. Gaps the size of a single tile, like the ones leading from this chest to the rest of the room. Everything clicks then. I just wish he didn't use up stamina. It puts an unnecessary pause in the middle of segments like this. Using them when not in front of a gap lets me do a Zelda style roll that's a lot faster than dashing. Back in the northwest corner of the entrance, I can now jump across the walls to another bloodstone. Just one more on this entire island. Then I can jump to the chest near the stairs to the upper wing. This one gets me the master key. Back to the main hall where Gil has set up a shop for me and I can use the master key to unlock the door. This leads to the King Angler Mausoleum, where the Emblem of Ocean is behind the king's body and Princess Finn is still frozen. I fall her, and as she turns to face me, the king's body starts to move. When I first saw that, it was so unexpected I laughed. Then I'd forgotten by the time I came to script this and it caught me off guard and made me laugh again. So the second main boss, Dead King Angler. One of his attacks is to make icicles drop from the sky on top of me. He also has a freeze ray to discourage getting too close to him. I throw a pot at him which stuns him and reveals a core so I can get to smacking. But after that it ends up taking about 5 more hits from both pots and the fire spell to bring him down again for another beating. By comparison, the third time he ends up stunned a lot quicker. His attack pattern never really changes, so I just keep it up for a 4th time to deplete the rest of his health. The king's body explodes and Princess Finn finally comes to. Another Guilman shows up to ease her confusion and she rewards the kid by offering anything she can give, so of course we ask for the Emblem of Ocean. She agrees to this and we take it. This time through the emblem we get spoken to by Trito, the god of water and ocean. He has nothing new to say that Nato hasn't already said. Back at the pier, the old Guilman reminds me that I need the Coral Saber if I want to fight Oceanhorn. Once I leave the island, Hermit contacts me again. He believes after the catastrophe, a disciple of Mesmeroth must have been travelling the world to curse the emblems to prevent them from undoing the damage caused by Trilorth. He asks me to come back to his island as the old fortress and Skerry also become available. Since the Skerry is small, I go there first. Not much here. First I blow up a crate on the east side to reach a chest with 25 XP inside. Up some stairs is the only bloodstone on this island. This is my 21st. Then I can jump to a chest with 100 coins inside and that's this place finished. My next choice of destination is Riptide Reef. This place is bigger than the Sandbar and Skerry, but the father still doesn't have any notes on this place. This island requires the trencher boots to get anywhere, as it's made up of smaller islands separated by small gaps. Simply following the path leading north takes me to a chest containing 1 coin. To the south I can jump over the first of 2 bloodstones. The second bloodstone is a little further south of that. I cross the bridge to find a sign stating that the trials have been put in place to protect the Coral Saber, written by Thorn the Brave. To the north are 2 statues separated by a gap, with the middle claiming they are being pushed into a duel, yet these 2 are facing away from each other. Right after I complete the Tough as a Boot challenge by breaking a crate with the Trencher Boots roll. Can't solve it just here, so I go south a little and uphill to a chest with 3 arrows inside. Running along the top here will also let me reach the higher up statue. While trying to work this out, I trick a skeleton into walking into water and drowning to complete the Down for Swimming challenge. Let's skip ahead to the successful attempt. Above the statue I push down this crate and use it to fill the gap between the 2 sections. I push the higher statue on top of it, blow the crate so I can stand on the same level, and then push the statue so that it faces the other one. This opens a door to the south. Through the door is a sign saying that a secret lies in the spot where the widow weeps, and that the stairs next to it is a gravestone. I place a bomb in front of it to reveal a chest containing a master key. Back along the top path to the north, I can drop in front of the master door and unlock it. The sign says that my final trial is to try and pull the Coral Saber from Sealork's head. So when I go south, the kid automatically climbs on top of the creature and easily pulls out the sword. The Coral Saber is a big damage upgrade over the original sword. When I regain control, to the north is a chest with 25 XP inside. And finally, to the south of Sealork's body is a master chest containing a heart piece, and that is Riptide Reef fully complete. Back at the boat I decide to drop by Tikkarel again. I still don't have enough bloodstones for that picky collector. I decide to finally try out that fishing rod Mito gave me. I just wait for a bite, press the button, and then pull the rod in the opposite direction the fish is moving to deplete its strength bar. Simple. I pull out my first solfish. I will also have to pull up one of every fish to achieve 100%. I also complete the Catch a Solfish challenge. Back in Crayfish Caves I use the Trencher Boots to reach the chest I couldn't before. It has 25 XP inside. Out the other side, I can also use the trencher boost to jump my way up to the 6th and final bloodstone of this island. And next to it is a chest with another heart piece inside. I talked to Nita, who despite asking me to tell her of my travels, I can't. She just gives me a hint on the treasure I already have. A nice Tikkerel also 100% complete, well, aside from the bloodstone collector. I guess it's now time to return to Hermit's Island and figure out what we're going to do about the Emblem of Sun. But not this episode. I'm at 44% with 2 of the 3 emblems collected, which I think is a good enough place to leave it for now. The remaining 56% will be covered next episode. By this point I was enjoying the game quite a bit and I was quite impressed. Mobile games are a big blind spot for me, and despite knowing how much they've advanced, I didn't know you could get something of this quality all the way back in 2013. But as always, when a game is split over more than one episode, there's always the risk of a second half dragging it down, so we'll see how I still feel when I finish the game next episode.